Welcome and thank you all for joining me here again on Triumphant Trauma Tales. I, your host, Reese, am here with the lovely Jason Gobeli. How are you doing today, Jason?
I'm extremely blessed. Reese, how are you?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. Where did your own story begin?
Well, I guess you could say it began when I was born. So that's probably where we all begin, right? Listen, I can tell you wanted to hear because your podcast is based on trauma. So I can tell you a little bit about traumas. We all go through trauma throughout our whole life. I was born in the sticks in Western Maryland. And an interesting thing is that when I was 11 years old, me and my three younger brothers were in the backyard on Thanksgiving, and we watched my dad overdose in the backyard with it. He overdosed speedballing, and that was the last time we saw him. Is when I was 11, and I was there with my three younger brothers, and I dealt with a lot of issues going through that throughout the years. So there was a lot of abandonment issues and things that I had to deal with. So, I guess that's kind of how it started. That helped shape my character.
Yeah, I that would shape anybody, and that would send most people into a spiral.
Well, I uh, threw myself into sports and football and got obsessed with that. And it became an obsession for a while until my mom remarried and we moved to California and I found drugs myself. And then that took me on a path that I thought I would end up just like my dad. And I ended up getting in some serious trouble behind my drug use. And at the age of 26, I was in a lockdown facility and I got clean. And I've been clean for Well, I'm 62 now, so I've been clean for 36 years.
Wow,
Yeah,
congratulations.
pretty blessed. Have a good life. So we've been through a lot of things that have been, you know, obstacles that we get through and we come across and we work our way through them. And everyone has their stories and everyone has their obstacles. Thing it is we just need to get through it. We need to have a path for success. And so that's what I've done. Um, when we were I got married shortly after I got in recovery, 3 years after I got clean. So I'll be with my wife now we've been together for over 30 years, but we'll be married for 30 years this year. And when the market was booming, we were selling a lot of houses, doing a lot of real estate seminars, and I went bankrupt for $4.5 million and we lost everything, the house we lived in and everything. So that was another bit of life that we had to navigate through. We navigated through it, so it's all good. Everything's been good. Everything that happened to me is exactly what needed to happen to me to be where I am. And I'm grateful.
And and that is a very special perspective because I feel the exact same way about my own life, but many of us aren't brave enough to get there because we cling far too closely to the pain and we own it as if it's part of our identity instead of that's an experience. Let me process these emotions and let it go.
Reese, I hear what you're saying, but I don't believe it has anything to do with bravery. I think it has to do with not knowing the way out. And somebody gets stuck. And many people get stuck living things that happened in the past. We get stuck living in the past. And there's a path to get free from that. So the path no longer controls us. I'm not defined by my past. And then others get stuck in fear and anxiety and things like this, and they get stuck in the future. And there's the worries and the fears and the anxieties that get all tied up, and it keeps us from living in the present. But there's a path to get rid of that too.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is that if we're not happy where we're at, and we're not living right where we're at in the present, then that's a road to destruction as well. So there's ways that we could do and things that we can do to help free up all of that.
I agree. And it's all about where you're at and what you're struggling with, but pioneering the path forward, no matter what you as an individual need.
Yes, yes. That's why I created my book. I wrote my book and I created my modality, the FFL modality. And it's all in my book. My first book, I've gotten four now, but my first book is called Infused Hypnosis, The Transformative Power of the FFL Modality. And that helps us not only to live presently, but a proper way to live presently. So I think it's a pretty powerful method of healing. Yeah.
See, and I love that you've written books on it because while I'm not personally hypnosis trained, I love hypnosis techniques. I found in my own healing, even an anchor point hypnosis, if you're using it properly, can be very helpful in bringing you back to that present moment or helping you in different stages of healing overcome, say you're stuck in grief and you've got an anchor point that can help you feel the joy of the present moment. Use it. Use it and help rewire your brain through the tools that we have available so that you don't have to stay stuck.
That's right. You don't have to stay stuck. But hypnosis is not nothing special. All it is communication. It's
And
just an advanced form of communication with the unconscious mind, and it's all available. We all get hypnotized every day. So if we just take that mystery aside and we look at my program, the FFL modality, it's really not hypnosis at all. It's about a mindset and it's about
mhm.
techniques that we could use to get better. If you'd like, I'll tell you about it if you're interested in it at all.
Well, I'm happy to listen to you share as much with our viewers as you'd like.
So, so the FFL modality stands for faith, forgiveness, and love. See, and like we were talking before, so many of us get caught up in the future, worries, fears, and things like this that we don't know what to do, and it ties up our present. And we can't live presently if we're all caught up in what's going to happen tomorrow. So faith allows us to not worry about the future, get out of that fear. It lets us trust that it's going to be okay. We can trust in ourselves and the inner strength within inside us, your God, your higher power, your the universe, whatever, yourself. You can trust in all of that, that it's going to be okay and you're going to be safe. Now, for the past, it's forgiveness. That's stuff that happened yesterday. For me, it would be with my father's death or the bankruptcy or my use of, whatever, my use of drugs or things that happened with my kids. I mean, I got all kinds of things that we've been through, but I can't let that affect how I'm living today. I can't bring up yesterday. That's gone as well. As a matter of fact, I like this quote. It goes like this. Yesterday is a canceled check, tomorrow is a promissory note, and today is cash in hand. So that's all it's worth of shit is the cash in hand, what we have today. So if I look at the cash in hand and what I have today, it's living in the present. Now, it's important when we live in the present that we do things right. Now, this might make sense to you, but our bodies are consistent of molecules. And inside those molecules are little atoms, and those atoms move around and they vibrate. They vibrate at different speeds. Now, our thoughts and our emotions actually vibrate and help control the speed that moves between those atoms. And if they're moving at a higher vibration, then what happens? It produces alkaline. If it moves at a lower vibration, it produces acid. It's an acidic state. So when thoughts and feelings like fear, anger, resentment, jealousy, greed, all these things cause the vibration to move at an acidic state. And the body doesn't work good with acid. As a matter of fact, it expands. This is the scientific behind the mindset. It expands. So you see someone who gets worried and they start to get an upset stomach. It's almost like the acid levels in their stomach are coming up. And that increases the worry and creates more worry. Well, the same thing happens when you have these positive vibrating thoughts. So forgiveness, love, patience, kindness, all these things create positivity and they create an alkaline state. So it becomes very healing. And that's how a lot of people, find themselves healing. Now, that third part of my modality is love. And love is how we live in the present. Because so often we can get caught up in anger, jealousy, greed, and things like this. And those lower vibrational states will just tear us down. But when we act in love and do the right thing for the right reasons and do what we can to help other people, not only does it help them, but it feels good inside. And you'll find that when you do acts of kindness and you're there and empathetic for other people, it'll just help heal you. And it's just a wonderful thing. So the faith, forgiveness, and love, the FFL deals with the past, the present, and the future, deals with everything. And when we live by these principles, our lives change and everything transforms. And so it's not really hypnosis.
No,
It's
it's
just
mindset.
science. Yes, it's a mindset, but
It,
it's really science.
exactly. And yes, I as you mentioned, it's molecules. It's our my molecular biology that dictates all of these things and even down to your cellular function. And I
It's
love how you mentioned how anxiety and depression and all of these different things actively impact it. Because these are things people are not realizing because we've been misled that our minds only
yeah.
affect our minds. Honey, your mind affects your whole body the same way your heart keeps your blood pumping. It touches everything.
It happens on the quantum level. As a matter of everything that we see, everything that happens, everything that done, everything that was ever created was first created in the mind. The thought came before the thing was built. Every building that's out there, every store, every idea, every business was all created in the mind first. So the mind's powerful. We need to treat the mind right and realize that we have so much more potential than we realize. And we don't have to be stuck anymore in those things that keep us and limit us from growing to where we really should be.
I completely agree.
Thanks. Yeah.
And and I love how even without knowing your specific technique, I used it in my own life through the various stages of my coming back to myself. Because yes, at various times I was so resentful I could barely function. I was an angry little cow. I'm not anymore.
Yes, I get it. I get it. See, and for me, it's not really coming back to myself because I am who I am inside, and I become who I am every day. So I'm not what I was because that's gone.
Mhm.
What I am is how I act now and presently. So my actions today and the actions that you make today will become your accomplishments tomorrow. So it all depends on what you're doing right now, right here, right now, and what you can do to make your life better. So
Exactly.
what mindset are you in right now? That's the real question. Or the question that I like to ask myself when I'm living in today is that when before I act, I asked, is there love in it? Because if there's not love in it, then why am I doing it? What's the motive behind it? Yeah.
Exactly. If you don't love it, if it's not bringing you joy, and if it's not absolutely necessary, why are you doing it?
Yes, and you know what? It's not even if it's not bringing me joy, if it's not helping others, and there's not loving it for others as well.
Yes,
Because there's a lot to be said for giving, caring, sharing, kindness, and just taking what's inside and sharing it with others so that they can grow as well.
I love that you say that because that's a huge part of it. It's no, share what you have, help others, encourage others, even if you can't help in, say, more measurable ways in present North American society. Like we're all trapped in hunger and greed, and we don't need to be.
I don't buy that at all. I'm sorry, Reese. I don't buy that at all. We're not trapped at all. We have more power than we realize.
No, but
And
as a
and
society, not as individuals.
yes, but we have more power in this society than we realize. I'm not a victim of society. It's real
No.
easy for me to play victim to society and that I'm in the situation that I'm in because of what other people are doing around me. When the truth is that the reason I'm in the situation I am is because I allow it to happen. So I need to get out of that victim role. Too many people get stuck in the victim role, and we need to get unstuck from that victim role because that kills us, and that causes those cells at the quantum level to vibrate very, very slow and it creates acid in the body and you get all kinds of diseases and cancers and all kinds of things because it's just not operating at an optimal level.
Well, exactly. Take back the control and change everything because you do have the power to dictate everything in your life.
Yeah. Well, like outside, it's raining. Now, I'm not going to control whether it rains or not. That's God's. But what I do control is how I act off that and my reaction to it. Now, if I choose to say, oh my God, it's a raining day. It's miserable. I'm not going to be able to get nothing done. Well, man, my life's going to be miserable for today. But if I walk outside, man, it's a beautiful raining day. The trees are green. We need this. And I look at it from a different perspective. I create the better path and I vibrate better, and everything's beautiful. And it's not change in reality, it's change in me.
Well, exactly. And I love that you use that example. I personally live in a coastal rainforest. If I had a crappy day every time that it rained, I would be miserable forever. I look at the rain and I'm grateful that it nourishes the plants and our ecosystems. And hell, I mean, it's keeping me watered, even if it comes through the tap later on. It's sustainability. It's how you look at everything in your moment, in your day, that actually shifts everything.
It's the path that we choose to take. I mean, and you're in Canada. I'm here in the United States, but it could be your elected official or our elected official. People can get overwhelmed and say, "Oh my God, this is happening. It's going to be the end of the world." Well, no, I'm going to get up tomorrow and it's going to be the same day as it always is. It's not what's there, it's what's here. And then how I see and how I react to what's going on out there. So, yeah, so I'm not going to let any of that happen. I mean, and by the way, that's not saying that, I mean, I could walk outside and I could get mugged.
I hope not.
But I'm saying things can happen in life, but it doesn't mean that we have to get stuck in that. If I got into a car accident on the way out, it doesn't mean that that's going to make everything, we don't have to be stuck here
It,
by what
yeah,
happens there. We don't have to be stuck. That's all.
it
I don't have to
exactly.
beat myself up over it and stuff like this.
Like, own the moment and move forward with your best interests at hand, and as well as those around you. Like, we don't need to sit there and be selfish. We also need to think about how we affect others, but don't dwell on it.
There's so much good in selflessness when giving and when things are done right and yeah, I like to think of it as you do the right thing for the right reasons because motives are important. Now, doing the right thing for the wrong reasons is better than doing the wrong thing, but it's very best case scenarios to do the right thing for the right reasons. So if I'm doing the right thing for the right reasons, then everybody's blessed and we all get to grow. So that means I don't try to control or dictate or be manipulative towards other people. I allow them to be themselves. But that said, if I can help, I want to help. I want to be there to help. And we do our right thing, so the the right thing, self-supporting. Take care of mine and then take care of ours. I'll give you an example. It's not always about me, and it should never always be about me. Let's say that I saw a nice watch that I liked. I said, man, that's a nice watch. I want to get this watch, right? And I look at the watch and I want to buy the watch and I got, a few $100s to buy the watch, but I'm on the way to pay the electric bill for the family. Well, I think it's probably a good idea that I pay the electric bill for the family. My wants don't have to be there because what's good for the group is good for the individual. See, so when I take care of others, it really takes care of me too. So there's a double-edged sword in that.
Well, exactly. And even just the energetic exchange of supporting your own little community. The people you live with are a little piece of your community very directly. And and yeah, it's not 100 people unless you're living in an actual like off-grid community or commune, but your family, to take care of them. Check your own selfish needs. You can get the watch later on.
Every everybody that I come in contact with, I can have an effect on, and you can too. And let me give you an example. If you're walking down the street, you can smile at somebody who's a stranger, and that can be contagious. That may make their day. I mean, it may be something that is just a good thing. So we all want to try to do what we can to, share that with others and spread that good feeling around so that we can all live in a better world.
I love that you say that because I was raised to smile when you cross someone's path, no matter the day you're having. And as an adult, I can see and honor that effect. And you can tell when someone saw unseen until you just flashed them a friendly smile. And their entire walk and stance changes. You can tell that that 1 second changed the trajectory of their day.
And you can thank your parents for that, be grateful that you have the parents that you had.
No, exactly. Like, thank you, my very controlling, bitter grandmother. I'm very grateful for the values and the goodwill that you instilled in me, even though you are still angry to this day.
Well, we often don't realize what we have until it's gone. So I take that back. I mean, with my stepfather, when my mom remarried, when I was younger and I wanted to do what I wanted to do and felt like he was controlling and all of this other stuff, I had anger and I carried this around and because he wasn't letting me do what I thought I needed to do. But the truth is he had his best concerns for me. He
Mhm.
wasn't doing it because he didn't care. I'm sure your grandmother wasn't either. I'm sure she does it because she cares and she wants the best for you. And with what they got, they do the best they can with what they got.
It
Now that
exactly.
he's gone, now that he's gone and he's no longer with us, I look at things a lot differently. I looked at it actually before he died, and actually I made my amends to him for the way that I acted and cleaned up some of my wreckage. But after he's gone and after I made my amends and after I started clean, I started looking at him differently. And it's so often that we get stuck, and I know this isn't just me, I say we, with the labels. That if I put the label of father on my father or mom on my mom or whatever, then I expect them to act by that label. And if they don't act by that label, then I get angry and resentment instead of just allowing them to be a human being, just
It
like all of us. No
it it,
different, no
it
more. If I get pulled over, I don't want to think, oh my God, here's a cop, I'm in trouble. I want to think there's a human being. Let's talk differently and treat them like a human. And I get to be a human because that's all we really are. We're all humans together working to, try to have a better world.
well, exactly. And there again, removing the label.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't need the labels. It's
How can
stupid.
our listeners connect with you?
I don't know. I would hope that they connect with me by just hearing me. And you know what's even worse than the labels that we put on other people is the labels that we put on ourselves. Because
There.
sometimes we put a label on ourselves, and then when we put that label on ourselves, we expect to be that way because we give ourselves a label that we're this or we're that or we're this. And the truth is we're more than that. We're humans. And that entails so much more. There's so much potential and so much capabilities and so much that we can do because we're human and we need to accept ourselves as we are and get rid of those labels. Those labels are what's used to discriminate, to do things. I mean, the skin color, the sexual identity, the creed, religion, lack of religion, whatever it may be, any of the lines that we used to separate from one another create distance.
Yeah,
All of them. So why are they there?
exactly. We all bleed red,
And even if I didn't, it's still a label. Right? I mean,
right?
we are who we are. We want to do the best we can to make things work the best we can.
Right.
I don't know about Canada, but here in the United States, I've seen people that's, oh, I don't know if I can be your friend anymore because of who you voted for or something like this. And it's like, seriously, dude? I mean, really, does that really matter in the bigger picture of things? What you believe and who you are is not really matters. What matters is, how we can help each other and what we can do to treat each other with respect, and get rid of this opposition
It's
so that we can
exactly.
grow.
Let's get back to oneness and growing and healing as human beings.
It's all simple communication is all it is. We communicate better and we communicate with love and we communicate with respect and tolerance and empathy and things like this. and then we grow. And, I may not necessarily agree with what you do or what you've done or how you feel or what you believe, but that doesn't mean that I can treat you differently because I disagree. I mean, I can allow you to be wrong if it is, or I can be wrong and you can allow me to be wrong. It doesn't matter. What's important
Exactly.
is how we communicate and what we can do because there's different views.
That's exactly. And there is space for everyone, but try not to be hateful.
I miss that. Try not to be what?
Hateful.
Hateful, yes, yes. Well, yes, we it'll cause that low vibration and it comes back inside.
It's exactly the
Like
psychosomatic compounding.
the anger, the resentment, the remorse, the greed, the jealousy, all this stuff will not affect the person that you're thinking about. It really affects ourselves, and it causes nothing but bad inside us. It's unhealthy. It's just not healthy. So it's best healthy to for me to accept me and for me to accept you. And I'll never learn to love you and accept you until I learn how to love and accept myself. I mean, you can't give what you don't got. So it's pretty simple.
I agree. It really is that simple. And I hope that more people are coming around as we are here in 2025.
Yeah.
Like it starts with within, and then you can start to treat those around you better and live a better life and all of these things, but it starts inside.
I don't think it's something that we're coming around to in 2025. I think it's something that's been around forever. I think Jesus talked about it. I think it's been around forever. Those principles of just giving and caring and sharing and love and kindness and the virtue and empathy and all those things. This isn't nothing new.
Well, no,
It's been around
it's
forever.
not new, like, but we seem to have stepped away in many aspects, unfortunately.
Too many people get stuck with in limiting beliefs
Yeah, exactly.
and they don't know a way out.
Yeah.
They've fallen into that victim role. I do volunteer work in some of the institutions, the jails and things like that. And I see this that people get stuck in this victim mentality sometimes, that I'm here because of this or that. And then I see people that actually have had things happen to them, but that does not define who you are. Like if there's anyone out there and like you've been through life and like some major things have happened, major abuse or major stuff like that, that does not have to define who you are. You're more than that. See, you can get beyond that. That does not have to control your life. I mean, you can recover from all that.
And thank you so much for the perfect closing words today. And thank you for taking the time to share with me and to hopefully enthrall our audience.
I got a gift I can give your audience. How about that?
Oh, but please
So,
share.
so if you go to my website, www.go-under, that's .com, go-under.com. Like go under hypnosis, go under trance, go with a minus sign under.com, and then do / self-sabotage. SELF dash, or like the minus sign, sabotage, SABOTAGE, self-sabotage. If you go there, gounder.com / self-sabotage, you'll get one of my books that I'll give you away for free. It's called Do You Sabotage Yourself Without Even Knowing It? That's what the name of the book's called. And it's actually a comprehensive guide to understanding self-esteem. I think that that'll help this audience pretty well, especially if they're going through trauma and things like that. Yes.
Thank you so much, Jason. And I do encourage you all to go dive into it because no matter who you are, no matter where you're at, I promise you will benefit. And
Yeah,
thank you
thanks.
all, and I'll see you next week.